Okay guys, so today I'm here and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a cooking video, and today I'm making, you might be able to tell by the ingredients I have here, that I am making homemade goldfish, gluten-free homemade goldfish, and then I'm going to try also after this, which I'm probably not going to film it, make some dairy-free ones as well. So I'm just going to show you guys the ingredients that I have here for homemade goldfish, gluten-free. So I've got 1 cup of gluten-free flour. This is the King Arthur kind. Then I've got 3 cups of cheddar cheese. I did use a little bit of the Mexican blend because I didn't want to use up all of our cheddar. And then I've got half a teaspoon of paprika. I've got 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, and we are also going to want a little bit more than just 1/4, because you're also going to want some to sprinkle on top of these. 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder and 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and this is a half a teaspoon of paprika. And then right here I have 6 tablespoons of butter. I recommend salted butter, but we're just using light butter with canola oil because that's all we have. So yeah, and then you have 1 to 2 tablespoons of water. So let's get started. And you also want a bowl to mix in. So I just have this big measuring cup that goes up to 8 cups, and a little spatula. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to preheat our oven to 350. And also, when we're all done with the dough, you're going to want to line 2 pans with parchment paper. Okay, so now I'm just going to be using the Nutra Ninja bullet for this. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add your cheese, your flour, your paprika, your salt, your onion, and garlic powder, and you're going to want to blend it until it is combined. So I'm just going to do that now. So this is not big enough, so actually I'm going to have to do it twice. So I'm only going to use half of the cheese. And we'll just add the rest of the cheese, and I'm going to do half of the flour. There we go. And I'm going to add half of everything else as well. And then, it really doesn't matter because it's going to get mixed up anyways, so yeah. So now we're going to put the lid on it and we're going to go puree it, or pulse it. Okay, so now that we have blended it into where it made like a flour almost, we're going to start to add the other ingredients, but it's okay if there is a little bit of cheese that didn't ground up, and there's a couple pieces in here that made like a dough, which is funny, but yeah, we're just going to mix it up since I had to do it in 2 batches. But it looks really well, and I can't wait to see how this tastes once we make it. So now we're going to add our 6 tablespoons of butter. Now, if you have a food processor that can manage like this much amount of stuff with butter and stuff, then go ahead and use it, but ours cannot, so we're just gonna mix it up, and I'll see you once I have this mixed up. Okay, so now that I have added the butter, and you can see the kind of consistency it made, now we're going to add the half of our liquid. So this is 1 to 2 tablespoons. You're going to want to add half of it at first because it depends. You don't have to add, you can add 1 tablespoon of water, And if that's enough, you don't add any more. But if it's not enough, go ahead and add another tablespoon. So I've got 2 tablespoons of water here, so I'm only going to add half of it. So we're just going to add a little bit at a time. And now I'm going to stir it. So I'm just going to film me stirring it a little bit because you guys might be interested. So it's starting to form like a doughy consistency, so you can see, and it's getting actually really hard to mix. So I'm going to go ahead and mix the rest of this off camera and decide if I need to add the other tablespoon of water. So if you guys are wondering how to tell if your dough needs 1 or 2 tablespoons of liquid, you can tell simply by once your dough forms a ball while you're mixing it, then you're good. You do not need another tablespoon, but if it doesn't, you need more. So this is a good consistency. As you can tell, it's forming a ball, and I'm just gonna make sure this is stirred up completely, and then I'll see you when I'm done. Okay, so now we're going to take this and put it on a floured surface, which I'm gonna do really quickly off camera. Okay, so now I've just put some saran wrap down, and I put a little bit of flour. So there's just like I don't know, you guys probably can't tell, but I can tell there's like a little whitish film, which is flour. And now we're just gonna take our dough and put it out and on that. And now you're gonna wanna make sure your hands are clean, and you are gonna form it into a ball, which it may already be in a ball. So if it already is in a ball, just make it into a better ball. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of do it like that. So there we go. And now I'm gonna get a butter knife, and I'm gonna cut it in half. And you can work with a half at a time, but for me, I'm gonna work with a 1/4 at a time because I just think that's gonna be easier. So by this time, you're probably gonna wanna go ahead and have your 2 pans lined with wax paper, or no, parchment paper ready, which I will do in just a second. I gotta make sure we've got parchment paper. So yeah. I will see you guys once I get this rolled out. Okay, so I have never seen a rolling pin this big, but I've got a rolling pin, and let's roll it out. I've actually never used a rolling pin before, so I actually don't know how to use this thing. So I'm gonna actually do this off camera really quickly, and then I'll be back with you in a sec. I just put a little bit of flour on the top of this to keep it from sticking to the rolling pin, and now I'm just gonna roll it out. And I will actually use my hand a little bit for this as well, because it will probably, this is gluten free, so it's not gonna be just like normal dough, so it's gonna be a little different. And this should make a lot, because actually this is only a 1/4 of the batch, and I thought it would make hardly anything because it only calls for 1 cup of flour, but I guess it's all of that cheese that it calls for. So I think this is about good for this one, and I'm just gonna cut the edges off to make it a square. Instead of, I don't have a tiny cookie cutter, so I'm just gonna cut little squares and make them like Cheez-Its instead of goldfish. So that's what I'm gonna do. And don't throw away your excess when you cut it, because you can actually use that to make more. So yeah, this is a different kind of video, so I hope you are enjoying. Okay, so I could use a pizza cutter, but I think I'm just gonna actually use a butter knife. So you wanna, you don't have to measure it, but you just kinda wanna do about a 1/2 inch wide. So I'm doing about that wide. And now you are definitely going to need a pan, 2 pans covered. Well, you only need one pan right now, but you will, if you bake all of these at one time, need 2 pans. But if you don't have parchment paper like we do, we're just gonna use foil, nonstick foil. So yeah, and don't worry if these are not perfectly even, if you were not measuring them, because like I am, I'm not measuring them. I'm actually gonna get a sharp knife because that will probably actually make it a little easier. I'm gonna use this one.
You want me to sharpen the knife?
No, I got this
You
one.
sure? Because that's what it's dull.
It's working better than a butter knife.
And sure it's gonna work better than a butter knife.
Okay.
Not a butter knife.
So, I'm just gonna take actually a little bit off of these bottom ones because they're a little bit too big, because I'm trying to go for them to be a little bit even. So now I'm gonna actually go get a pan, which I should have done earlier, and line it with foil. Let me press pause so you guys aren't just sitting here waiting, watching me do. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the ones I've already cut on here. I'm not going to put them super close together because honestly I do not know if these are going to spread or not, because this is actually the first time I'm making them. So I'm going to put them about that much apart. Most likely they won't spread, but you just never know, especially when you're making something for the first time. I'm actually going to just put 5 in one row. So this will probably make, I don't know, it'll probably make a ton, because less than 1/4 of the dough made, I haven't looked how many yet. Let me look real quick. I don't even know. You guys will find out in a second once I do rows, but it made a lot. This one's a little not perfect, but again, they don't have to be perfect because they're homemade. And they probably will end up tasting a lot better than regular ones, especially regular gluten-free ones, because homemade gluten-free stuff usually tastes better than store-bought gluten-free stuff. So we're going on 20 here. And it made 1/4 makes 30. So, I mean, that's already at least 2 or 3 servings, depending on how many you're gonna eat at one time. And that's not even a full 1/4. So it makes a lot. So you can actually, if you want to, if you don't have enough of the ingredients, you could half it and it'll still make plenty. So I'm gonna cut a few more, and then I'm gonna stick these in the oven. And they bake for 15 to 18 minutes. But it all depends on once that you know they're done when they're brown. But really quickly, I'm going to show you what was I going to say? I'm going to show you how I make them look like Cheez-Its. So I'm going to grab a couple different things. So you're going to want a toothpick for this, and some some fine crisp, like the not super fine, but whatever this kind of salt is, it's more chunky, and that's what we're going to put on top. And we're just going to poke a little hole in the middle, make them look like Cheez-Its. I mean, of course you don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm going to. And you can actually buy little mini cookie cutters, and you can make them in different shapes. And actually you could add food coloring to this if you wanted to make them different colors for different seasons, but I think I didn't add food coloring. This is just the natural color that the cheese and the paprika gives it, and I think they look really good. And I'm also going to try them for you guys so you guys know what they taste like. So I'm actually probably going to go ahead and cook this pan once I finish this, just so that you guys won't have to wait. So they'll be done quicker. And I'm just going to pour a little bit of salt in my hand, that much, and we're gonna sprinkle a little bit on top, like that. It doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, you also don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I think it'll make it taste good, so. And also, I think even if you had even bigger salt crystals, that it would work too and look actually more like the real thing. I still can't believe it worked so as well as it did, because I made gluten and dairy-free bagels, homemade bagels yesterday, and I had to add extra liquid, and I did not add extra liquid at all. I didn't add anything extra. I followed the directions, the instructions, and I'll put the recipe in the description box. I did get it off of a website, but I'm gonna put the recipe in the description box for you guys if I can remember, but I'm gonna try to. Okay, let's see. Just gonna sprinkle a bit. Okay, so now at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, see, we're gonna put those in the oven and let them cook for 15 to 18 minutes or until golden brown. So I've got some more about to go in the oven. I'm just gonna fill this pan up really quick, and the next time I will get back to you is when the ones that are in the oven are done. This is what they look like right now. Let's see if I can open the oven. That's what they look like. So I'm kind of thinking I should have put the salt on when they come out. So that's what I'm gonna try with these, because you can't see the salt right now. So we'll see. I'm gonna try and figure that out. So yeah. Okay guys, so these just came out of the oven. I added a little bit more salt. So I'm about to try them. The holes you can't really see, but oh well. So I'm just gonna let these cool off, and then I'll get back to you when I'm trying them. Okay guys, so I'm back, and they've cooled off, and I've actually already tried them, but they have the exact flavor of a Cheez-It. Now, they have the same flavor as a Cheez-It and a Goldfish. They're not as crispy and airy, but that's just because they're gluten-free. But they are delicious, and they will be gone soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please click like and subscribe and share with your friends. Bye! And please tell me on one of my community posts, or if there's comments on this video, if you tried it and if you liked them.